So, you are a fellow Jianxin main, I see. Well, then this video will be perfect for you. This is a guide about how to use her, what weapons she should use, all the right gear for her, upgrades, and more. So let's get right into it. To start off with, Jianxin is a character that specializes in crowd control, which is quite a unique ability. She is also a shooter, a healer, a potential sub DPS, or even DPS. In this video, I will be showing you how to build her as a DPS, as a Jianxin main, and there is a lot to explain about all her mechanics, skills, abilities, ultimates, and more. So let's start off with that. Now, her basic attacks are already super interesting because, like everybody or almost everybody else, she has 4 consecutive attacks. However, her third attack actually, very weakly, you don't really notice it that big, but it actually pulls some enemies in, which is very interesting. It's not crucial, but still good. Now, her skill is where things already get super interesting. It's a channeled ability. While you are channeling your skill, you actually gain 100% damage reduction. Meaning, when people attack you while you are in your state of your skill, you take 0 damage for pretty much 1 enemy attack. This is because as soon as an enemy attacks you, you counter attack them because of them breaking your skill state. For those who play League of Legends, see it as a Irelia W. It's like while you are channeling your skill, you gain 0 damage. You gain like 100% damage reduction, so take 0 damage. And while that happens, if an enemy does attack you, you release your skill early and counter attack them. This is also a great way to parry, for example, bosses, because as soon as they attack you and you just use your skill, you counter attack. Her skill alone makes her so good in so many different ways. It is actually kind of incredible. But this is just the beginning, because now we're gonna get over to her passive, or the green bar above her HP. Now, if we're talking about her forte circuit, or what I like to call it, her passive, I don't even know where to start at this point because it just does so much. This is her entire kit. To start off with, it's a channeled charge attack, and it has to be full for for her to use. Unlike some characters, they have like bars and charges and like that, and stuff like that. But hers has to be full. So like I said, the bar above her health bar has to be fully green. And as you can see, it has 2 sort of stages, 2 like lines in the bar. These are very important. You have to hold the charge attack as long as you can, and it is very, very important to get not just to the second line, but the last one. Like, it has to let go by itself. Why this is so important is because for every charge that you hit, her shield, healing, and damage output becomes stronger the longer you hold it. And even though a lot of people don't notice it, but the last one, like when it just releases by itself, it does so much damage. It is insane for a supposed to be sub DPS. And not only that, the shield just becomes so much greater as well. You can see by every charge it has, it becomes bigger. But when it releases by itself, it almost becomes half your HP, which is just pretty much insane. It's pretty much a DPS that is also a healer, a shielder, and just so much more. Almost everything is in her kit. Now let's talk about her ultimate. For those who play Genshin, her ultimate is pretty similar to that of Venti. It basically creates this sort of hole, or like this yin and yang thing that pretty much sucks all the enemies in. Obviously, it doesn't really apply to big enemies or bosses or stuff like that, but the combos you can do with her ultimate and her passive is it's incredible. So let me show you a quick showcase of what I mean. Now, I was gonna showcase it on like small enemies, but her ultimate already kills the enemies, so I'm just showcasing it on a boss. Also, something I forgot to mention is that when you are using her passive, as in charging her skill, you are actually gaining damage reduction. So as you are dealing damage multiply along with the ult in this case, you are also gaining a shield while gaining damage reduction, and once you release the skill or the charged attack, you are also just healing. So as you can see in this showcase, I ulted, used my passive all at the same time, burst damage, it was insane. Now, her intro and outro skill are also really interesting. As for her outro skill, she basically gives about 15% damage bonus for everyone's ultimate, or Resonance Liberation, which is really, really good. And her intro skill is even better, which when she gets switched on the field, she creates this sort of small like thing like her ultimate, but like a smaller version that also sucks enemies and just deals some damage. And so both her intro and outro skill are really good. It's like I said, she's a sub DPS, so she can actually also make your team stronger as you use her outro skill. Now that we've finished talking about how her kit works, how she works, all her stuff like that, let's get right into her build. Now, I have been very, very, very lucky and very fortunate that I managed to get Jianxin very early and get her weapon very, very early. It's not her weapon, but it's still a 5-star weapon. So, of course, this is a 5-star weapon, and yes, sure, it is good and all. And obviously, I am going to use it because why wouldn't I? I decided to pull for this because I wanted to main her. But there is actually a 4-star weapon that is potentially better than the 5-star. I'm not going to use it because I got the 5-star, and if you want to go for the 5-star, go for it. But as long as you don't have the weapon, go to the weaponsmith that is in the main city where, where we all went. And he actually sells, or not he, but you can craft something that is potentially the best weapon for. Also, quick tip, if you talk to Uncle Wei, you can actually buy upgrade materials or ascension materials for your characters and weapons. Be sure to buy them. It is super worth it. Now, anyway, back to the weapon. The weapon can craft just behind Uncle Wei. It is so good, I don't even know what to say. It says here, when the resonator dashes or dodges, increases attack by 8% and increases counter attack damage by 50%, which you do with your skill, parry and stuff like that. This lasts for 8 seconds. When counter attack is performed, restores the resonate HP by 5%. This is insane. This weapon is basically some of her kit in that weapon. So you sort of get her kit twice. So I guess you understand now why I said that this weapon is potentially better than the 5-star. The only reason why it wouldn't be is, because of the main stats. It has higher base damage, higher this, higher that. But she's actually also really good with energy regen because the main stat of that weapon is energy regen. But that doesn't mean that she's like gonna be useless because she's still gonna deal a lot of damage. If you want like pure insane damage, you gotta go for crit rate or crit damage. Then even the 5-star weapon is not that good if you think about it. But play the way you want her to play. If you want the craftable weapon, use the craftable weapon. If you want the 5-star weapon, use the 5-star weapon. If you want another weapon, use another weapon. Maybe a limited weapon comes out that will be good for her. Now that we talked about weapons, let's talk about her gear or echoes. So let's talk about the sets first. Obviously, we are still in early game and we still don't have the best gear. We're not gonna get the best gear possible at the moment. But as of for now, and pretty much in the future too, the best sets that you want to get is the Sierra Gale or pretty much the Airy set. Which not arrow damage, which increases arrow damage, which is kind of obvious. For now, I have the Moonlit Cloud and the wind or arrow damage bonus set because that is where I've been getting the best gear off. But as for the main stats, in the main echo, you either gonna want crit rate or crit damage as for 4 points. In the second slot, you're gonna want arrow damage, and obviously energy regen or attack is also a substitute stat, but arrow damage is gonna be the best one, and that also applies for the third slot. Now for the last 2 slots, it's just gonna be attack. It's for everyone, you're gonna do 4 3 3 1 1, which is crit rate, crit damage, or most people, especially DPSs, you're gonna want 4 3 3 1 1, which is crit rate, crit damage, the damage bonus, such as arrow in Jianxin's case, arrow damage bonus, and then attack and attack. Obviously, this doesn't really apply for every character because, for example, healers, they're gonna want healing bonus, then HP, etc., etc. There is also this other set, which is like the two sources set, which is like an attack sort of set, which increases your attack and damage bonus, stuff like that. This also works. This is a very versatile set, but go for the arrow set. Now, if we're gonna talk about team comps, it doesn't really matter since this is a skill-based game. But as you can see, my team comp is just Jianxin, the electro guy, and the main character because they're just that good. But to be honest, I only use Jianxin, so it doesn't really matter. However, there is this 4-star character that I sadly still don't have yet, but he boosts the damage of your DPS so much, which is more heavy. This guy, it's just insane. He increases your damage. It's really good. If you're pulling for a Jian, just try to get him as well. If you know want to main both or something like that. Ultimately, just make the team that you want to use. Like, just use the 3 characters that you find the best. Of course, there are better characters for better moments to improve your team's damage and stuff like that. But this is, after all, a skill-based game, so it doesn't really matter that much. But like I said, ultimately, it is a game. So just have fun. Use the characters that you enjoy the most. Play the way that you want to. Don't rush anything. I know this is not really a tip video guide to, how to rush to the highest rank. I know that I'm quite a high rank, but that's because I really enjoy playing this game. So, but yeah, like I said, just use any characters that you want. Use any weapons that you want. Ultimately, use any echoes that you want. It really does not matter as long as you are enjoying the game the way you want to. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this guide video about Jianxin. I hope all of you who don't have her yet get her, and any potential weapons you want for her. Once again, thank you for watching this video and enjoy using Jianxin.